Well, kids, gather round. Gather round, wimps and posers. Gather round, true believers. Because I have seen it. Yep. Lawrence of Chaos. A movie based on the book, based on a fabrication of a true story. Now, this goes back. The first time I ever heard of Lords of Chaos was 2006. We're in a very early Metalocalypse interview. This is probably before the first episode aired, when the demo of the theme song was the only thing that we knew of. And I think the stupid coffee jingle. Brendan Small said he was going to be doing some guitar work for a movie based on this book called Lords of Chaos. Now, I didn't know a fucking thing about it at the time. I didn't know anything about black metal because I was young and dumb. Um, I didn't hear anything about it. I did look up the book. Wasn't in Braille, so or a format that I could read like BRF or Daisy or something like that. So it took me a while to actually track it down. I actually read a book called Black Metal Evolution of the Cult first, before Lords of Chaos, even though I knew what LOC was. That book was really interesting. Lords of Chaos, not so much, but I have done a review of the book, so feel free to check that out. Now, the movie. Oh boy. Directed by Jonas Ackerlund, who was a one time drummer for Bathory. If you are so inclined, you can. It's on one of the Jubileum compilations and the Scandinavian Metal Attack compilation, the two tracks he did, Sacrifice, and a song called The Return of the Darkness Evil, which I don't believe has any correlation to the album track. So he was a one time metal drummer, and he's done things for Beyonce, Lady Gaga, and Metallica. Music videos, and the horrible band Satyricon. I'm sorry, people, they've only released two decent albums, and the rest were shite. But hey, if you like those two albums, whatever. Um, the movie. First, to address the 800-pound elephant stroke gorilla in the room, the accents. Yeah, the accents are normal American accents. Now, I get that it's meant to be a film meant for people who don't speak Norwegian or want to read subtitles. But people speak English in Norway. Have you ever heard Fenris or Varg? People speak English rather well in Norway. Why couldn't they get people who have accents to lend some authenticity to this movie? Because as it stands, they sound like me. Hey, dude, I'm Euronymous. It doesn't work. Um, Weirdly enough, in the section where Varg goes to the press, which they completely fucked up because Euronymous was against it in the movie, in the real life, apparently that was Euronymous' idea that Varg go to the press to basically get some publicity for his shop, which he then closed because his mommy and daddy didn't like it. The publicity. Anyway, the reporter for the newspaper has an accent, which makes it sort of weird that I've just spent over an hour watching Norwegians talk like me when this one guy has a Scandinavian accent. Anyway, what's the movie like? Well, I sort of wish I could have the last 2 hours of my life back. Yeah. The music. Now, Varg has said that he denied music. He denied his music to be used in the movie, and he said that other bands have done as well. Ackerland said he never approached any other bands, which shows. Okay, there's plenty of Mayhem music. there's plenty of classic metal, Dio, Sabbath, NWO, BHM, even Sarcophago, which I thought was awesome. Some Bathory, and so that was all fun. Burzum, the uh, the, the the guy who did. I don't even know if it was meant to be a Burzum song or just meant or a cover or meant to be just a generic Burzum-esque sound because the guy who did the vocals for Burzum, stop what you're doing right now and do your best sort of high pitched howl noises, sounding more like a crow. And you probably sound better than the guy who did the Burzum vocals. Holy shit. I was rolling on the floor laughing. I mean, I get that his vocals aren't for everyone. I get that his vocals are very extreme and sound quite tortured with a sort of high pitched sound to them. But that was completely missing the mark. It just sounded like some guy. Yeah, sounded like a wounded animal. Um, Someone else called it a girl crying, but I think it sounded more like a wounded animal. Um, the story has a lot of inaccuracies. First of all, no one, no one. It comes off as a typical teenage story. Boy forms band. Boy, you know, gets a singer, which they completely. Maniac didn't get a look at. Keep in mind, I'm blind here, people, so I'm going to maybe mainly focus on the story and the audio. Maniac could have been made a cameo in the movie for all I know, but I didn't. He didn't stand out or anything, so he didn't even get a look at which. Okay, um, so he gets Dead gets into the band. Really stupid scene early on with they have the tape that Dead sends with a letter and a crucified mouse, which I thought was kind of funny that he would do that. And they put the tape in, and presumably the tape is the Morbid December Moon demo, which I have. It is fucking great. Um, but they don't actually show it. They just, wow, this is amazing. I've never heard anyone sound like this in my life. Couldn't you have gotten the rights for that fucking demo, Jonas? Seriously? Or did they not want to work with you because they knew what it would turn out to be? More on that later. So he gets Dead comes in and Dead's all, the things you already know about him. You already know the story. And then he kills himself, which they showed the suicide on screen, which I don't have a moral problem with, but I think it would be even more interesting drama wise if we just saw what Euronymous saw, which was, him opening the door and seeing him dead. I don't know if we really had to see it on screen. I thought, because I think with this one, it's sort of like how I feel with H.P. Lovecraft. It's it's what's not seen is as important as what is seen. And some things like dead suicide are more interesting if they're imagined rather than if you just show them on screen. Not like I said, I'm not morally against it, but whatever. Anyway, then it goes into Anonymous meets Christian Vikernes, um, who they show us basically a poser and into glam metal. I believe they said he had a Poison shirt, and I don't think they mean the German Poison who released one amazing album. Listen to it, people. Um, when in reality, he would have, what, in 89, 90, he was already an Old Funeral and already into thrash and death metal and already had the Pestilence demos and, things like that. Um, Typical teenage story, just with more stabbing and death. I mean, basically, it's, uh, guy starts a thing to look cool and evil and then it gets he gets in over his head and um tries to bow out and then he ends up dead. So cliche plot. The murders, I mean, obviously there's dead suicide, there's Faust's murder that Faust did. That was um you know it was what it was. lots of stabbing, and of course Euronymous' murder later on in the movie. Spoiler alert! Oh wait, you already know that happened. Um, Varg was given the royal shaft as far as how he was portrayed. He starts out as a total anarcha, and he takes the whole, he takes this way too seriously and ends up, going insane. He has the most annoying fucking laugh I've ever heard. That scene where he burns down the church and starts laughing, that is the most annoying sound I've ever heard. I mean, Enrica's voice is less annoying than that fucking sound. Um, it Euronymous, I don't know the guy personally because he died. Uh, but yeah, I don't think Euronymous would necessarily agree with his characterization. Varg definitely doesn't agree, which, I mean, I know he gets a lot of shit, but really, I think he could have done better than basically have Varg be this, you know, basically poser who takes everything too seriously. And fuck's sake, just sorry. It's a horrible fucking movie. Okay, I mean it's not bad in like the special effects or stuff, at least not from what but it's just, oh, just the list of things they get wrong. I get it. I get it. It's not meant to be a history. It's meant to be played for fucking normal. Just my parents and sister would probably like it. And I'm sorry. I don't want them to like it. You know, there's minimal black metal so that, it doesn't hurt little 4-year olds' ears. I mean, I love Accept. I love Accept, and I love Sarcophago, and I love all those bands. But you're talking about music. Play some Prism. Hey, this new demo came in from Dark Throne. Let's listen to that. That Dark Throne was completely absent. There wasn't a history of, hey, Dark Throne's, because Dark Throne was the first band to play this new style of black metal in A Blaze into the Northern Sky. After this Soulside Journey album, they were playing this before Mayhem. Mayhem Death Crush is playing, Varg called it funcore. It was a mix of black and thrash with sort of a fun zombie cannibal element. They didn't record. Well, they did live in Leipzig, but even Leipzig had a lot of the Death Crush material. They didn't record release the Mysterious Tum Satanas until 94, 93, and it was released 94. Dark Throne beat them to the punch. Emperor released their EP, Immortal, Enslaved. It just, none of that was in the fucking movie. I know. I understand that they wanted to make it for normies. I understand this, and I tried to make exceptions, but god damn it, I can't. Okay? It's fucking awful. Just the acting. The acting. Talk more about the movie. The acting. What acting? It's one of those casts where, have you ever seen those celebrity reality shows where that the only link they have as celebrities is like, oh, it's so and so's son? Well, that's Lords of Chaos. There's Val Kilmer's, he was Batman for a time, kid, and the brother of the dude from Home Alone. I'm I'm sorry. And they put in very wooden perform. I mean, there's no inflection. They don't sound like they even understand what they're fucking talking about. They don't understand. They sound like people given cue cards. That they don't sound like they're people who live, eat, and breathe metal. There's one awesome scene where the scene where Varg murders Euronymous, and Euronymous yells, "Help! Help! He's trying to kill me!" And like literally the worst. If you're dying of blood loss from stab wounds and being chased by fucking a guy bent on your destruction, you're probably not going to sound like this. You're probably going to sound a lot more yelly and, you know. But I was waiting for him to scream, "Why do you hate Satan?" a la God's Not Dead. It was that horrible. Um, yeah, they didn't sound like they were really into black metal. They sounded like people given a script to read, and they didn't do a very good job of it. Um, like I said, as far as the script, I get it in that they wanted to Jonas wanted to, in a sense, demystify the scene and make it more apparent that these were just kids, and they were, but at the same time, I don't know. It just feels very cheap and sort of like a coming of age film. It just that's what it feels cheap. I don't know. Maybe someone who doesn't like black metal will like it, but I know what's his name, Frank Godla from Metal Injection loves it, and judging by judging by his interview, he even went quote black packing, which I think is poserific. You know, black packing means that you go to Norway and you visit all the historical sites, and you basically act like a tourist in black metal, which is like, I don't know, kind of the antithesis, in my opinion, of what fucking black metal's supposed to be. Black metal's about Satan, not fucking. Oh look, and there's where they had the meetup, and there's where they drink beer. Oh my god, I'm in the same building that Euronymous was in. That's not, in my opinion, what black metal's about. It's about doing your own thing, and it's about Satan, basically, whatever your interpretation of Satan is. Uh, the title drop of Lords of Chaos is quite funny because they never called themselves that. Lords of Chaos in the book was a self-styled militia group, which was fairly interesting but had nothing to do with black metal. Just everything they left off, and like I said, the music. And I'm glad they put in actual metal, but needed more black metal, needed more, hey, look, here's some demo, because that's what it was about. It was about the music. I mean, all the extracurricular activities were fun, but in the end, it was about, Euronymous would you've read his interviews. Reel off lists of bands you should check out. So I don't know. Anyway, I could go on, but it would probably be the video would probably be as long as fucking the book Lords of Chaos, which reaches 400 pages. Um, should you watch it? Maybe. Try to get it for free. Fuck it. I'll try and get it for free, or watch it on a streaming site where you're not outright paying for it. Don't go see it in theaters, and don't buy it on fucking DVD or Hulu or whatever the fuck you kids use. It's not worth it, people. I'm. It's saddening to see what people try to make of the scene. I don't know. It's just fucking saddening. Metal sucks, and Jonas Ackerlund have won, people. Fuck. I gotta go listen to some Marduk or Terrorism. Anyway, that's my review. Once Jim watches it, we'll review it. Probably he'll talk about the visual effects and things that I missed on the walls and shit. But it's fucking depressing. Anyway, that's been Elliott Lindenwood for Swine Brothers. I'm gonna go listen to some fucking Vlad Tepes now. Oh, before I go, there's uh, there's one great scene in the movie. A Euronymous' girlfriend, who is played by Sky Ferreira, a fucking pop singer and supermodel, talking about how Varg is fake. Yes, a pop singer talking about how someone is not a real metalhead. That sums up this movie fucking perfectly. All right, I'm depressed. Piss the fuck off.